Hey folks, I'm Mark, and welcome to my workshop. Everything here starts with a question. Today, I actually have a double header. First question I'm going to ask, how do I keep Dr. Theo from just falling over when I put him on a desk? Because, you know, he's just a circle, so he'd roll. So I think I need to give him some feet to keep him upright. Second question is his cheeks are made up of just some fake electronics, so some integrated circuits and some capacitors, and I need to figure out exactly where those are going to go on his face, so they fit in with the rest of the components. So let's get started. So I start in Tinkercad. I drop a cylinder on here first, and this is going to be the actual foot itself, but I need to make it so that it fits onto the body well, which is a curved surface. So I take another cylinder and make this the same dimensions as Dr. Theo's body, the outside dimensions. I turn that into a hole, and then I line that up with the first cylinder, and my intention is I'm going to just position the hole over the foot so that it acts as though it looks like it's the body. Then I can merge those two, once I get everything lined up here, I can merge those two, and then the cut actually has the exact same curve as the body. And I duplicate the feet, and then I'm ready to go to print. So I printed them off, and I cleaned them up a little bit, and then I took just a piece of sanding paper and scuffed up the outside of the body so that it would hopefully give the glue a little bit more to attach to. And what I used was just simple super glue. I attach them on, and they worked well. They did exactly what they were supposed to do, holding Dr. Theo upright, and I mean, he's not going to be able to move around a whole lot. Well, he's not going to be able to move around at all, but this will at least prevent him from rolling off the table or falling over. So today I'm working on the cheeks. Now the cheeks in the original were made up of 3 integrated circuits, or ICs, on each side, and then there's a capacitor at the very bottom. Now the top 2 ICs, if I'm zooming in on the picture a little bit, it's a 14-pin IC, so 7 on each side. Those are the top 2, or the 2 topmost, and then the ones at the bottom are top 2 are 16-pin, so 8 on a side. The bottom one is a 14-pin, so only 7 on a side, so a little bit smaller. So now I've got a decision to make. So here's the current stack, and I'll build it back up so you can see it. So there's the first layer, which has the colors, the shapes on it. Then there's a spacer. Ooh. There's the spacer. Then there's just a simple clear acrylic circle, and another spacer. And then there's the sheet that I just dropped, which now is covered in dust and cobwebs, because, you know, that's fantastic, which goes on the very top, and that's got the cutouts. So the decision is, at what layer do I put these ICs and everything else? Now the original drawing, or the original, had the eyes layered on top of the ICs, and then the shape, or the layer with the cutout, is in front of all of that. So we're definitely not going to put it on the top layer, so we'll just get this out of here. Now my thought was I would mount the eyes to this layer so they're on top. Now that means that the ICs would go right on the layer with the colors. And that actually works out well, because that allows me to line everything up based on the shapes. And if I'm looking at the original drawing, then these are lined up with these green shepherd's crooks, if you will, like this. Those are the larger ones. And then there's the 14-pin, and then one of the capacitors, and then the other side is a mirror image. Something like that. Now obviously I'll have to go through, what I'm going to end up doing is hot gluing all of this stuff down, all of this fake hardware down to the plate. And as a result, I'm going to end up having to trim the leads on the capacitor and the leads on the IC sockets. The ICs themselves will just plug right in, and so those leads will get buried in here, so that those won't have to get trimmed at all. But that's the plan. So I'm going to get trimming, and then get my hot glue gun warming up, and then I can start gluing all this hardware down. Here it is. Here's his cheeks. I wanted to point something out. The sticker is on the back of the acrylic. I wanted to glue to the acrylic and not the sticker, just on the off chance that the heat warped the sticker or whatever. I've got a few different little hairs to clean up, but overall that's not too bad. Now let's confirm that the spacer that I've printed is going to work. So what I need it to be able to do is have the next piece clear, and it doesn't quite. So I'm going to have to reprint a slightly thicker spacer here so that this sits nice and flush, and doesn't ride on the top of the circuitry. But then this layer will be where the eyes go, and they'll be printed right here. And then depending on how thick that one is, we'll see if the next spacer also has to be bigger. But all in all, I think that turned out not too bad. Well, there you have it. Dr. Theo's feet and his cheeks are complete. Okay, I didn't honestly mean to make that sound like a Dr. Seuss story, but it is what it is. At any rate, please check the show notes. I'll have links to the thicker spacer that I ended up needing for his body, and then also the feet themselves there. Next up will be his ears. And I'll just have a little bit of a teaser here saying those were a journey. See you next time.